So we are recording so that we can share today's discussion and presentation with those who were not able to join us today. We'll get started in just a second. I wasn't going to do this, but I think given there's just a few of us to start, I would love to invite everyone to just briefly introduce themselves, maybe with your name and the school that you are representing and your role, whether it's counselor, educator, support. I'm going to look at how you guys are represented in my screen. And so if Charnel Davis, could you take a moment just to say hello?
Good morning. Again, my name is Charnel Davis. I'm a school counselor at Leisure Elementary. I'm super excited to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Andrea Scally.
Hi, I'm Andrea Scally. I'm so sorry. My video is not working and I can't get it to fix, but I'm Andrea Scally. I'm from MOT Charter School.
Wonderful. Thank you for being with us. Tanya, James, would you like to introduce yourself briefly? You're on mute if you're talking. All right, we'll come back. Terry Fenimore, would you like to say hello?
Sure. My name's Terry Fenimore. I am a school counselor at the Charter School of Wilmington.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
Marley, would you like to say hello?
Hi, my name is Marley. I am a college counselor at Free Area Charter School in Wilmington.
Cool. I've come to several presentations there and know Clint Walker from the board quite well. So I'm huge Free Area fan. Let's see. Wyatt Lowe, would you like to say hello?
Yes, Wyatt Lowe, Sussex Tech High School counselor.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Hopefully I can't see everybody, so I apologize. If there's anyone else. Could I ask everybody else to mute? And then, okay, well, I'm not sure. I have some background. Okay, so my name is, Lee, I see your hand.
Do you mind if I just introduce myself too?
I'm sorry, I was going to ask you to do so. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, I am.
Oh, you went back on mute.
Well, on mute, sorry. I'm from the Delaware Department of Education, Higher Education Office, and I work with a college and career support for students and school counselors.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And a huge thanks to Lee for her partnership today in helping to put this together. My name is Pamela Gardner. I'm the lead program manager for the Delaware Health Sciences Alliance. And I really want to thank you all for taking time to be here today, and for those that may view this recording later for taking time to do so. The purpose of today is to make you aware of events that the Delaware Health Sciences Alliance hosts each academic year, and specific to each county for high school students as well as undergraduate students and their parents, for students who have an interest in going into healthcare professions later in their life and their career, particularly those interested in becoming physicians. And we wanted to meet with you and connect with you to provide more of an understanding around what our events entail and what we think the value in the information that's being shared and presented to students. Today is not at all a request to ask you to become experts in any of this and walk away and present this to students yourselves, but to have a closer connection so that when our announcements and notifications of these events come to you and the registration information is included, you have more of a connection to what we're asking you to share and why we're asking you to share it, and then asking you to share it broadly with all students. And the call to action is to share it broadly with all students and not just those that may come to mind that have an interest. We certainly want to capture those students who have self-identified and said, I love science and I want to be a physician. But we also want to make sure that we're creating awareness for those students who maybe think it's not possible based on, their family's financial situation, or, no one in their family having previously gone to college or medical school before, or the student who is incredibly talented and gifted in art and music that doesn't know that, they could take a non-traditional path to medicine. And we want to make sure we're capturing those students as well. So I'm gonna walk through a high level of some of the information that we share and the DIMER program and a little bit more about DHSA, and then I'm happy to answer questions that you may have. So let me share my screen. Let's see. Can you see my PowerPoint fully? All right, I see a thumbs up. Great. So thank you again for joining us today. So a little bit about the Delaware Health Sciences Alliance. The Delaware Health Sciences Alliance is an independent 501c3 independent organization. We were founded in 2009 with our 4 founding member institutions represented on the top row here. And we're incredibly fortunate over the past couple of years to have broadly and intentionally expanded our membership to include all of those organizations that you see represented on the screen. As you can see, our membership and our partners span health systems across the state of Delaware. We have incredible partnerships with the other health systems not yet represented in our membership, as well as our undergraduate medical or our undergraduate education institutions, and those strongly putting forth health science programs, as well as our medical education partner institutions, Sidney Kimmel Medical College at Thomas Jefferson University and the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, both closely located in Philadelphia. And so DHSA, I'm going to skip this slide, but DHSA creates and facilitates and encourages innovation and collaboration and partnership among our membership framework. And we really look holistically at the pipeline to providing healthcare and access to care in Delaware. And how we do that, we look at the entrance points of the pipeline, starting with high school and undergraduate students. We work closely with medical students, medical residents training in the state of Delaware, as well as medical residents that are from Delaware and training in other states, and then attending physicians. And so we do this through our high school outreach events that we'll talk about in a moment in more detail, opportunities for supporting the success of Delaware medical students through networking and tying them to connecting them to leadership, ensuring they have a support network in the health systems, in the medical education institutions through the DIMER Leadership Board and DHSA. We provide research opportunities. We have a research grant. We do healthcare workforce development and recruitment initiatives. DHSA hosts Delaware Day, which is the only time in a calendar year that all of our health systems come together collaboratively for a collective workforce recruitment event. Outside of that, they independently recruit on their own. So we really represent and recruit as a state for Delaware Day through DHSA. And we also link students to mentors, with attending physicians, as well as have guest speakers and panelists. So going back to the high school and undergraduate students, you may be aware that Delaware is one of 4 states in the country that does not have a state medical school. And so Delaware's answer to that is what's called DIMER. And DIMER stands for the Delaware Institute of Medical Education and Research. DIMER is over 50 years old now. DHSA curates its 50th anniversary report, as well as its annual reports from 2020 forward. These can be found on the DHSA website, as well as the DIMER website through DHSS, through the state of Delaware. But so DIMER is an agreement between the state of Delaware and Sidney Kimmel Medical College at Thomas Jefferson University, as well as with the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, that guarantees and contracts 30 seats between the 2 institutions, 20 at SKMC and 10 at PCOM, and reserves admission slots for highly qualified Delaware students applying to these schools for medical school. We are thrilled that our partners in Philadelphia continue year after year to accept more than they are contracted to do so. And we're excited about this for 2 reasons. One, it really shows the commitment that our partner institutions have for their relationship with Delaware and providing quality medical education to Delaware students and residents. Two, what we're really excited about is the fact that we continue to exceed the contracted amount of admission slots for Delawareans speaks so highly to the quality of the Delaware applicant, to our Delaware applicants for medical school. And so we're incredibly proud of that as well. So what does this mean? DIMER is an admissions advantage for Delaware students seeking medical education. And so it is not a tuition program. It's not a tuition offset program or discount program. It is strictly an admissions advantage. So what does that mean? Each of these medical schools, and actually it's these numbers are pretty standard across the board and across the nation. So every year for their first year medical student slots, which is anywhere between 250 to 280, these schools each receive 12,000 applications for 280 slots. And so if you think about that, SKMC, their general application acceptance rate for the entering class of 2021, I believe was about 5.04%. And so PCOM's was a little higher. I believe it was closer to 6%. So if you think about those odds, you know, you're trying to be one of 280 out of 12,000. So what DIMER does is DIMER takes the Delaware applicant out of the general application pool, and Delaware applications are evaluated against Delaware application. So instead of being one of 12,000, you're now one of maybe 80, maybe one of 100 applicants vying for one of 30 seats. And so at SKMC, as I just mentioned, the 5% general application pool acceptance rate now looks like 39% acceptance rate for Delaware applicants. And at PCOM, the 2021 acceptance rate for DIMER applications was closer to 60%. So a significant admissions advantage. Applications are still compared against the general application pool, but again, they're pulled out and Delawareans are really evaluated against Delawareans. And Delaware applications, all applications are reviewed. There's not one Delaware application that is not reviewed and considered as part of this process. Where in the general application pool, there's, you know, certainly an algorithm to how they get down from the 12,000 to who they decide to really interview. So in addition to providing the admissions advantage, DIMER also provides networking opportunities for students with medical education and healthcare leaders. So we, throughout our academic year, host events in person and virtual. And these events are attended not only by Delaware medical students, but by leaders within the healthcare system, presidents of the organization, academic officers, the presidents and provosts of their medical education institutions. So they're really networking with leadership at the top and leadership that students typically don't get to interact with at this level in their career. We also provide networking opportunities and engagement opportunities for DIMER leadership in the board of directors, the DHSA framework as well. Alumni, physicians, peers, as well as, again, I mentioned earlier, connecting students to mentoring opportunities here in the state of Delaware to support their success. And then further through its partnership with DHSA, and I should say DHSA has been contracted to really provide the operations backbone for DIMER. We lead all of and facilitate all of its engagement strategies and much of its operation strategies as well. So we further provide engagement opportunities to DIMER students to participate in event panels such as the one we're talking about today for high school students, mentoring high school and undergraduate students as well. We facilitate student research work groups within the health systems for students to get more involved in research through their medical education career. And DHSA has also provided multiple publication opportunities for medical education students that they would not have otherwise had. So we're incredibly proud of that. And so our county specific events for high school students and their parents talk about Dimer and we talk about the admissions advantage, but we go beyond that and we talk about, the importance of sciences in the undergraduate studies. We talk about MCAT prep programs and the importance of preparing for their MCAT exam, which is the exam that they must take and reach a certain score in order to be accepted into medical school. DHSA recognizes that the MCAT exam fee itself may be a barrier for students of financial disadvantage and need. And so we provide a MCAT exam scholarship or exam fee scholarship for students who have successfully completed one of our partner MCAT prep programs, many of which are offered either at a discounted tuition or tuition is free based on the generosity of their own donors. And so our programs also continue the discussion with parents and students around applying to medical school, interviewing for medical school, the life of a medical student. What do the 4 years of medical school look like? Some in the classroom, with academic learning, some 2 years with clinical education in the health system. What graduating medical school means: you become a resident. That doesn't mean that you get to practice medicine independently yet. So you have additional training and mentorship and oversight. And then what it really means to be an attending physician and the opportunities here in Delaware to train and serve your community as a physician. We also recognize that students who go on to medical school come out of medical school with an incredible amount of debt. And that's not a secret to anyone, but we want to encourage folks to not see that as a barrier. There are incredible opportunities, both federal and at the state level, for loan repayment programs, as well as scholarship opportunities, grant opportunities, and other loan programs. So we create a high level awareness for families around that. What you're looking at on the screen right now is on the left, our 2020 panelists, and on the right, our 2021 panelists. We're very intentional with our panelists. We ensure that we have representation from the counties within which we're speaking. So there's, representation from a physician or an undergraduate education advisor. We also ensure that we have representation of diversity, not only gender, race, and ethnicity, but we also include physicians and medical students and residents that may have had a traditional path to medical education and becoming a physician, as well as those who maybe have had a non-traditional path and have chosen medicine either later in life, or perhaps was, the student who had the art undergraduate degree and went back and took their sciences and are now, on their road to becoming a physician, as well as those who maybe come from a line of family physicians and it's generational, it's part of their generational culture of their family, and those who are the first in their families to not only go to medical school, but possibly even, undergraduate college after high school. So we really want to tell the breadth of the story. We want to be intentional with the panelists that we engage, and we really try to intentionally ensure that in some way or focus, our audience members will be identifying with someone somehow and see that the possibility is there for them. And so that is a highlight of our panels. Pre-COVID, we did these in person. Since the pandemic, we have done them virtually, and I am a big proponent of our continuing to do them virtually. Our engagement has significantly increased. I'm not sure if that's partially because of the more of the presence and highlight on medicine that the pandemic has created. But also I firmly believe that our continuing to provide this in a virtual format allows students who may have had barriers to attend in person the ability to attend. And we do record the events, so if a parent is unable to attend with them, we do provide the links to students thereafter so they can watch again and or share with family members who maybe weren't able to attend with them. So again, the call today is not for you to walk away and be experts in any of this, but hopefully you see and agree that there's value in sharing these events that we have with students when you receive the notifications and registration links and share broadly. And so I'm going to pause there because I've had a lot to say, and we have about 10 minutes for questions or comments. And I would love to open the floor up and invite others to share their thoughts and or any questions that you may have. But thank you again so much for taking the time to join me today.
Hi, this is Tanya James. I have a question. So I work at Sussex Tech High School. So in terms of working with the current high school students, what's the direction to help? Because a lot of this happens, of course, as an undergraduate in college, but as a high school student, what services and what support and what direction is provided at this level?
Sure. So creating the awareness of the opportunities that are available to them. The earlier a student understands the importance of their science classes in undergraduate school, the better they are. So understanding that from our panels earlier, we have found to be helpful. Some students in undergraduate don't start meeting with their advisors until later in their undergraduate career. And then they're finding themselves in more positions of having to maybe go back and do post-bac for their science classes and or retake science classes, not understanding the impact that some of that may have, and or not realize that, they took the wrong science classes, right? So we provide support from that perspective. Also, we do provide an overview of opportunities within health systems and other programs that are available throughout the state, including HOSA, but in addition to HOSA, because I know HOSA is not necessarily in each school, and their student may be interested, but may not be interested in fully participating in, a program that's all in like that also. So we do provide an opportunity for students to have awareness of some of the opportunities for being engaged at the high school level within the health systems. COVID has kind of limited some of those restrictions or some of those opportunities, but we're seeing some of them start to open up more. Some have changed their formats to more of a virtual, so still that connection. And I think the biggest value that we're providing also is all of our panelists at our events. There is a benefit to attending live, even though it's a virtual event. Students are connecting with the panelists, and I've not facilitated one panel yet in the 4 or 5 years that I'm doing this that a physician hasn't provided their personal contact information and said, if you're interested, reach out to me. I'll have you come in, I'll shadow you. You want to meet for coffee? I'll meet for coffee. So I think there's a lot of value, particularly in students who may already know that this is the path that they want. They're getting those connections. I think for the students that are kind of on the cusp, I think we're seeing more students kind of realize that through the panel that more is possible than not. They may have come in thinking less is possible than more. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. And so we'll begin to receive some information about events coming up that we can then share with students. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So we do this once a year once each academic year per county. And I will say that students across the state are welcome to attend any of the county events. We encourage them to attend the events specific to the counties that they live and attend school, obviously for the local connection on the panels. But if they're not able to attend that event and able to attend others, they're more than welcome. We don't restrict that. Our events this year will be held in January and February. Typically we do them in the November, December timeframe, but we had a shift in some of our other program scheduling this year that was requested by our medical education partners. So my hope is that by mid-December, we'll have the notifications out for all of the events in the January, February timeframe so that you can begin communicating with students and families. Excellent questions. Thank you so much. And it looks like Lee will be sharing information through email and Schoology as well with everyone. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay. Well, my email address is pgardner@dhsa.org. Lee also has my contact information. So if any questions arise after this, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And again, I so appreciate you taking time from your busy schedules. I know that you have the world on your plate, and I'm grateful for all that you do in support of educating and supporting our students in Delaware. And so thank you again for taking time to be with me this morning. And thank you for your partnership and sharing this information going forward. We so appreciate it. And really hope and believe that equity and awareness helps to create equity and opportunity, which is why we ask that you share broadly. So thank you again for your partnership in that. All right. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you signed up for PDMS, I'll make sure to give you your credit hours.
Thanks so much, Lee. Appreciate your partnership. Bye-bye.